What's up, you guys? Welcome back! Since people complain so much that I'm always glorifying Korea, even though I actually make videos where I criticize it as well, I'm gonna present to you a list of 10 things that I actually hate about Korea and 10 things that Korea needs to change ASAP. There's no specific order. All these things are horrible. Enjoy! Number one, which is the trash system in Korea. It's absolutely crazy. It's so hard to understand it, and I have so many Korean friends who actually don't even understand it, and they can't explain it to me because their parents are doing the trash work. So there are like certain bags for certain trash and Number two, the elderly pension poverty. In Sweden, we think that politicians right now are starting to forget that the elderly people actually built our country because their pension is getting so much lower, and it's horrible, but it's actually nothing compared to Korea's elderly poverty. Korea is developed economically and technologically and in so many ways so developed. And Korea has such a respect for the elderly people, so it doesn't make sense to me why there's such a high poverty amongst the elderly people. And it's horrible. Number three, the work culture in Korea. It's actually one of the absolutely worst things about Korea, unfortunately. I heard that apparently there's a new rule in Korea where you can't use your work laptop after 12 o'clock on Fridays anymore. I mean, at midnight, and it's insane to even process for me. And also the government made a rule about that you shouldn't work certain amount of hours per week, and still it's so many hours. And I think that the government is actually trying to do something good here, but what they don't keep but the actual problem here, for me at least, seems like it's that if you do any overtime work, then you have to get paid for the overtime work you do hourly. I think that should be more of a better solution than just do some kind of cutoff that you can't work more than this certain amount of hours when there's so many people. At least I've heard there are so many people in Korea who are dependent on working so many hours to even get the proper salary. Number four, maybe also one of the most horrible things on this list, and it's 갑질, bully culture at school, in the military, and at work amongst adult people. And of course we have it as well in Sweden, but it seems like it's to a totally new level in Korea, and it's awful. And it seems like it's so broad and all over Korea that it exists in all kinds of areas. It's so immature, and I understand that the stressful working culture somehow makes someone going a little bit crazy. It makes people go insane to work as much as Korean people do. So it goes hand in hand. At least from my point of view, that's how it becomes a bully culture, because it's some kind of survival mechanism that goes on inside the people, which also goes hand in hand with number five on the list, the study culture. The study culture for children, it's inhumane. It's not human. There's too much pressure for these poor children at a so low age, and it starts so early that I can't even imagine what happens to their childhood. It feels like it ruins their childhood from my point of view. Number 6, the salary gap in Korea is unfortunately too big. In Korea, all people basically fight for those 3% job opportunities at like Samsung and LG and all those big corporation companies, because the gap from their salary to the average one is so insanely big, which also makes the society feel so pressured when it comes to study, work culture, how you treat each other at work, at school, etc. And it also is just so hard to even find work in general. So everything goes hand in hand. Number 7, safety for the people in Korea. For example, if you lose a job, then in Sweden we have a system that you get some, if you have worked for at least 6 months, then you get at least certain amount of payment from the unemployment company in exchange that you are actually applying for a lot of jobs. Next one, it feels like it's some sort of corruption in the Korean government, because workers for the Korean government officials, they can be super rich from basically doing nothing. And my source to this is I've heard there was a cult lady who was basically, she knew the president or something, and she was basically a millionaire and she didn't do anything. Please help me in the comment section, because it feels like the government officials and it's a little bit corrupted in Korea somehow. And please correct me if I'm wrong here. The last one on the list is gonna be that it seems like it has to be so hard to be handicapped in Korea. I rarely see any handicapped people, and I don't see any options for them to like get on the subway or get on a bus if they're in a wheelchair, or from an outside point of view, I get the impression that the government doesn't take care of the handicapped people so much. But once again, correct me if I'm wrong here. Anyways, you guys, that was the list. Some of you have wished for me to do a negative video about Korea for so long, and of course I've done it before, but this is a top 10 list of things that is actually horrible about Korea, and these things has to change, at least from my point of view. Of course, correct me if I'm wrong, because I want to know how you actually feel. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, click the notification button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.